Howdy folks. Okay, weed eater's finally happy. Maybe we can get back to tinkering with little Betty. Sitting out here underneath the carport. Let's get this little rig back in the shop and go back to tinkering with something that's fun. I'm gonna set you down right there, get you a bird's eye view. Here we go. Guess we ain't gonna go nowhere without the keys. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, keys in hand. Let's taking Betty into the shop. Take two. Well, ain't that cool? We got an automatic swivel feature I didn't know we had. Looks like I might have to do some more work on my base. All right, we'll get off here and get back on to doing something fun. What I think we'll tinker with today is get this hood open and I'll bring you over here and show you. There's just a whole bunch of room between this radiator and this fan. Hang on, we'll jerk you off the wall. There we go. Logic says, and everybody says, that's way too big of a gap for it to cool. Well, I've put a few hundred miles on it now, and it cools just fine, as long as you're going. I've discovered in the last few days after idling through a park for about 30 minutes. Well, I've always known it needed a shroud, but and I will eventually probably want to put air conditioning on this thing. But what I found out, as long as I'm running at least 20, 30 miles an hour, it cools just fine as is. But that's asking that little old radiator to do an awful lot. So we're gonna see if we can modify the original 94 Chevy fan shroud to fit this truck. Well, in the 94 Chevy, the radiator set flat. In the 53 Ford body, the radiator stands up and down and is real skinny. So what we're gonna do, or what the intent is to try to take the original clamshell fan shroud from the Chevy that's set in the body like this and turn it like that, make mounts and modify it to work in there. That's the intent. We will see what the reality winds up being later. All right, but what I found out, as long as I'm running at least 20, 30 miles. Okay, in fairness, I have mocked this up before, but it's before I had the radiator hoses or the transmission coolant lines on. So I know that it will fit, but now I've got to make it fit around the hoses. It looks like, clear that lower radiator hose, I need to cut a notch up to about right here. That should lower me down enough that we're matching up here at the top. On this half of the clamshell, When I put it in there, obviously to clear this, I'm gonna have to cut it out. So let me go find a marking stick and we'll start laying this out. See what we can come up with. Yeah, that's definitely going to interfere there. Needs to come down about 1.5 inches here and about the same on the bottom. Alrighty. Marking stick, slicing and dicing. Okay. Hopefully we can sneak up on this a little bit at a time. And that's not very good. Guess what? Substone don't seem to want to mark on my plastic. If we take that up to about right there, that'll allow that T that comes out of there to crowd right up along that underneath side of that. That should give us enough. Let's see what that looks like and see if I can find those marks. Okay. These need to go back up there somewhere. And I need a measuring device. They're underfoot everywhere until you need one. All right, let me see. I scribbled on that back to about 4-inch mark. That, we might get lucky and wind up that being absolutely perfect. Maybe not. We'll see. We see. To anybody watching these videos, especially surrounding little Betty the shop truck, everyone, including myself, can and will be inclined to say there's better ways of doing that. Of course there is. The whole point of this video is to use what we had to prove to myself and anybody that's curious enough to watch that you can do something on a very, very limited budget and wind up with a functional, at least in my opinion, pretty neat little truck. When I set out to do this, my goal was to actually purchase as little as absolutely possible. I started out with a running, although it body bent 94 Chevy pickup and a cast off 53 Ford cab. It's a little rusty, crusty. Front clip is pushed in and up, and same scenario with the utility bed. I've got the doors all functional. It's rusty, it's crusty. You could start. It needs body work. The whole thing needs body work if that's your goal. My goal from the very beginning has been to put it together, make it functional, and go down the road. As safe as a 94 Chevy pickup was to start with. So the body is, and probably will for some time, remain as found. It does go down the road. It's licensed, insured, legal. It's as functional as a 94 Chevy pickup was. Have I done things that, a steering column for instance, it would have been Oh, way, way, way a lot easier to go to a swap meet, pick up a used aftermarket steering column. But that's a purchase that I didn't have to make. Now, if you want to count man hours, I spent a bunch of man hours making that steering column work. I took 6 inches right out of the middle of it, glued it all back together, and it fits, it's functional. I guess the right way to do it all depends on who's calling right and wrong. For a great deal of gearheads out there, there's nothing right about this project. That's fine. It's fine. I'm cool with that. It has taken every bit I can to force myself not to overcomplicate this thing. When I pulled the cab off the 53 Ford, I didn't even take the front clip off of it. I knew it was pushed up. I knew it was pushed back. And there's rust. But the point of this was to make it go down the road. You can tinker with it later. I've got a back lot full of stalled projects, and most gearheads do. Got projects that they started on, and it's going to be super cool if it ever sees the light of day. Unfortunately, most do not. This one, hey, I just came back from the hardware store in it. Does it have to have this fan shroud? No, it don't have to have it. You go down the road on a 100-degree day and keep the temperature in the normal operating window as long as you're driving. But if I want to set a parade, for instance, or idle through a park like I did the other day, about 30 minutes of idling around, the temperature gauge starts creeping up. So we're going to see if we can use the old fan shroud from the donor truck, turn it up on its side, slice and dice, and make her fit. Anyway, let's get back to whittling. All right, let's see if we can get this laid out. All right, try not to butcher this too bad. Get it to fit over that lower hose. Come up through there like that somehow, sorta, kinda. Of course, that ain't gonna work like that. Need 6 more hands. All right, that ought to be about the right. Yeah, something like thusly. Gotta try to do this without butchering it up too bad, because the whole point of this is to use what we have. I screw this up to where it's not usable, then I'll have to figure out another way of making this. Okay, that was 1.25 inches. Are you anywhere close? I think we'll hog that out on the conservative side and grind to fit possibly. All right, we'll go find a drill and see what we can do here. Okay, got that old hole saw all chucked up in the right arbor. Found a drill. See if we can make a mess here. No, I have not laid this out real precise. Hopefully we won't need to. If we get real lucky, close enough to be right. My battery's about dead, looks like. Okay, there's a hole. Let's take the old slicer dicer machine, cut some lines, and we'll go over and do a test fit. See if we're getting close. It's always good to pay attention to where your exhaust sparks are going to go. That plastic is warm. Not near as warm as the metal sparks, but metal sparks don't stick to you quite so bad. Anyway, trim off the fuzz and we'll go over and see if we screwed this up completely or we're headed in the right direction. What do you say? Come on, let's go for a walk. Just back over here so we don't knock that down. I hate it when I knock them over and break away for a wheel. Them things are expensive. Okay, let's figure out how we're going to perch you up here where you can kind of almost see maybe. Is that going to work? Probably not. Maybe you can see. Okay, in and out for the 300th time. Well, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a step in the right direction, but we still need a little more clearance back there. So I'm going to shut you off and investigate this a little further. Hello, butterfly. Okay, after having banged my head several times on this hood, I've decided before I do any more under there to get this hood off and out of my way. So I'm gonna get the little tractor to hold it for me and let's get this hood off of here. Seems that Ford used two different size bolts for these hoods, and somebody's lost one of them over the years, so it only took 3 different wrenches to get those bolts out. Let's see if we can set this thing down on the ground without tearing it all up or knocking a hole in the windshield. All right, back to slicing and dicing, but because of the fact that this is probably all the video that I can get uploaded, I'll have to bring you that another installment on another day. So until then, if you found this entertaining, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and come back and we'll see what we can get into next time. Anyway, have a blessed day. Thank you.